What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Collider Interview Studio at TIFF 2025. We are at the Campari Cinema Center with the team behind A Private Life. I'm going to start by saying huge congratulations on your movie.
Thank you very much.
So before we dig into the details, we have to play a little game. At the Collider Interview Studio this year, we're passing notes from one film to the next. Yes. So this is an interesting challenge here. I am not allowed to look at this card. This was sent to the two of you from the team behind the movie Youngblood. Don't read it. Just know it, and we'll revisit it later.
Okay.
Do you want me to read it for you?
No, I got it.
Don't read.
Can you read that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't read it.
Okay, absolutely.
Okay. So now, before we continue on, you have to write a note to our next movie.
You must pull on your ear 3 times and say "wowza" each time.
Oh, I like this. Okay.
I like that too.
Okay. Wowza. That one I can know. All right.
It's graphic.
I'll take that from you.
You got it.
I won't look at that just in case. All right. Now, A Private Life. Because a lot of our viewers are first going to learn about your movie through this interview, would you mind doing the honors and giving a brief synopsis?
Sure. This is like A Private Life, vie privée in French, like plays like on the two aspects of the French title. Vie privée is like when you are like secret, intimate life, but also like deprived of life. This is the story of Lilian. She plays like amazing Jodie Foster in French, s'il vous plaît. Plays like a psychiatrist that is like so empathetic when one of her patients dies, supposedly from suicide, that she investigates on her death and is like convinced it's murder.
So you get a script from Anne, and I'm sure it's a wonderful script, but I do love the fact that...
You know Anne?
No, I just said her like first name, like I knew her personally. I do.
Anyone who knows Anne remembers, because she's the most beautiful woman in Paris.
Ooh.
That's true.
And she's also incredibly successful, incredibly talented, and a great novelist.
Exactly.
Very successful novelist.
Especially after this
find her
movie
book.
on.
You can find her book, like last one that has been translated in US, up on the New York Times, the New Yorker and stuff. She's a big deal.
Ooh, what is it called? I will immediately put it on the list after
The
this.
postal card.
Postcard.
Postal card.
Okay.
Postcard.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm finishing my re-listen of Running Man, and that'll be next on the list. I have a feeling it'll be a drastic shift, but I'm down for it. So you get what I assume is a great script from her, but I love the fact that a movie evolves every single step of the way. So I guess, what space did you see in her original writing that made you think to yourself, I have something unique to me, unique about my perspective as a filmmaker to bring to this material?
It's a pretty like a huge complex question, because like obviously we had like, not only she's a marvelous novelist, but she's also my best friend. So she knew me like, perfectly, like from like, it's been like maybe 25, 30 years that we've been like very close friends. And she had like, and so we share common like topics, common patterns, like common like traumas, like familially and like, psychologically and stuff. But I fell in love with the character. Lilian Steiner was this woman that is so, it started like a Jewish joke, like she starts to cry, like your shrink starts to cry when you tell her your stories. And so it was like the starting point. And then I want, like, she was like much more of a trauma oriented, like, script. And I really wanted to add some levity and to be like, it had to be playful.
Playfulness where I wasn't quite expecting it, and it works really well. You're an ace at that. I wanted to follow up on something that I was reading about in our press notes with you, Jodie, because you mentioned that the two of you met, and rather than having like a small talk kind of conversation, you went through the film word for word. You specifically said this, and it's kind of like burrowed its way into my brain. You said that each one of her answers, and the quote is, gave you this incredible surge of energy, which just excites me. So can you give me an example of a question you asked her and an energy surging answer that she gave you?
Well, it's always okay to say, I don't know. I mean, sometimes we ask questions all the time. And if the answer is, I don't know, you're like, gee, I don't know. Then you're able to go look through things more deeply. But it was really surprising to me that at this point, and we were pretty far from shooting, actually, maybe 3 months or something from shooting, that every question that I asked Rebecca, I didn't know what her answer would be, and she always had a very long, very thought out, deep answer. A lot about the relationships. So about the relationship with Daniel Auteuil's character, who's her ex-husband, and maybe it was things like, why did they break up, and what was the reason? Why are they not back together again? I think it was a lot of stuff like that.
I want to follow up on that relationship in a moment. The two of you are, again, like perfection together, and I really love seeing the complexity of that relationship, because I feel like we don't see see that kind of relationship on
We
screen.
don't
very
talk about
often.
exes, and what a beautiful and complicated relationship that is, and bittersweet, because you were something together that you no longer are, and yet there's this residue of meaning and family that you want to carry into your future, and sometimes you're able to, and sometimes you're not.
I feel like more often than not we see exes on screen, but in a wholly negative connotation.
Yes.
And I thought it was such a beautiful thing for
how
them
French,
to.
how French is
Very
this,
French.
like to still like have sex with your like ex, and this is not a message for my husband, but it's like you still like, and you get along, and I believe in friendship.
Yeah.
I truly believe in friendship, like between like men and women. And also after like when your love has gone, I mean, like this is a double burden if it doesn't work as a couple and then like as friends. So this is like literally like something that I was very involved in.
The friendship there feels so real and whole, and I really appreciated that. There's one other quote I had written down from our press notes about your
But now
collaboration.
I feel obsessed because we need to say like this word.
Oh my God, I wasn't even thinking
I'm
about
sorry,
it.
I keep thinking
No,
of that,
don't
and this is
say
not
it.
my no.
Don't say it.
I mean, don't say it now. You got to hide it from me.
Right. We
I
have to
have to
find
hide
the
it.
right opportunity. We're going to find the right opportunity.
I had like
in
a
2
thousand
minutes.
opportunities, but this is like not my fucking language, and I'm still like, and this is not even in English. You see what I mean?
Yes.
If you see what I mean,
given
so
me a
it's just
hint.
like confusing me a lot.
I have a hint. All right, here's the next quote that I wrote down. You had mentioned that I was simply hoping that Rebecca would push a little further into the purely cinematic aspects of her script, and I was wondering if you could give me an example of that, a time where she pushed the material cinematically in a way that maybe gave you another surge of energy with the material.
Well, there's a wonderful part of the movie where my character goes to investigate the murder and finds herself at a hypnotist's office, which is the last place that she wants to be because she doesn't believe in hypnosis at all. She's a non-believer, and then finds herself in this private life in this unconscious world, and it becomes very cinematic. And I'm sure she has lots of Schadenfreude with
or like the other, like yeah.
with the other characters.
All the alarms
with the
just went off in
hypnotist.
my
With the
head.
hypnotist.
With the hypnotist.
Absolutely. It's
Yes.
so true, so accurate.
I heard the word. I heard the word.
This is like a word. I mean,
She
What
said,
is-
but
what-
wait a minute,
what
it's
is
not
the-
even an English word.
What
Like,
is
how are we
wait?
supposed
What
to
is
put
the
it-
word now?
Schadenfreude.
Schadenfreude.
What does it mean?
It
Should I
means
know what
like
it
this
means?
is like a feeling like when you feel like happy that someone has like something
Something
bad,
terrible happens to
something
them.
terrible. This
when
is
you
German.
wish something bad happens
What
to
a
them.
devious word to put on
we
that
know
card.
that. Psychoanalytic word
You know
as well.
what? Not like I don't thank you. I don't thank you for that. But we knew the word. Like it's fine. But it's like this is also like a very like Freudian concept, which is
It
like
is.
crazy because this is like so
Freudian movie.
maybe this is the reason like you pitched the
I was
movie like
gonna
to the
say,
people before.
they know.
Schadenfreude is
All right.
like when you just like rejoices you
In
rejoice
someone else's
yourself.
failure.
Exactly. It's totally
That
like
is
some-
not how we feel about,
Never.
about the movie Youngblood, by the way.
Never.
I don't like
Never.
this word.
Youngblood to rule.
Exactly. We would never feel that.
I'll follow up on what you were just saying and dig into the creation of this hypnosis scene, which is just absolutely stunning and fascinating. Can you maybe tell me a little bit about how it evolved and what it looked like in your head when you first read it on the page, and then what it became in the final film after you thought it through and figured out how to execute it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the part, like, it's the most challenging part of the film. Like, in a way, it was like one of the most, not the most challenging one, but like one of the most funny part and technique part, like, you know, to deal with and to craft. And, you know, there's like, topically, there's like a rivalry between like, you know, psychoanalysis and hypnotist. And this is like a huge, like, historical, like, moment like 1 century ago, because like hypnotist would say I can cure you like very quickly and it's very cheap, and like psychoanalyst would be like it's long, painful and very expensive. So you have like this kind of, this is just a plot like that is an antagonism between like Sophie Guillemot, the hypnotist, and her. And then while crafting the scenes itself, it had to be like, what is the super ego? What is like the unconscious images that we have? What are the dreamy images that we're like made of, which is like the entire language of cinema. And so we used script and AI in order not to be like, not to give and to feed the beast, but to be like, you know, plasticians, like artists and just like painters with that. And I scripted them, gave them like images. The images that were back were amazingly different, weird, uncanny. uncanny, shad uncanny. Like this is like the whole like Freudian thing, and it was like very stimulating, very invigorating to have like this, you know, conversation like in between.
I'm really curious about the hypnotherapy of it all. What kind of research did you do into that? And is there any particular form of it that you thought would best suit, I guess, how you wanted to use it to explore what Jodie's character is going through in this situation?
Do you want like the secrets or just like the random like?
She went to a hypnotist.
I kind of do want that. It's fascinating to me.
Yeah, I'm fascinated because I don't believe that. There's something that I deeply crave for, is that there's something beneath. We all, as filmmakers, as actors, as like the audience of a film, we want to feel that there's something more, that it's not just that. But you know what? Eventually, maybe it's just that, but it was the ride. So I really wanted to have like new feelings and maybe probably create new images, because sometimes, you know, it's been like one century and a half that this like media exists, cinema, and everyone is doing the same images. I wanted new ones. I wanted to have like maybe just a personal vibe on that. So I went to hypnotist. Most ridiculous moment in my life. I was like, I'm feeling hot. I'm feeling hot. That's all that happened. It was like, I cannot say that. Yeah, close to an orgasm, but very, very shortly. And then just not in, I'm sorry. This is like, I'm French. Is it something I can say?
This is what French people do.
But it did not happen, really, you know? And so I just like, you know, nourished, and like, it was like the fuel, like for new images, new things. And yeah, probably like stimulating like the Lynchian or Fellinian images that we have. Also, Anne Berest, like the novelist and the scriptwriter, is part of the family of Léon Chertok, who's like one of the most like famous hypnotists in France from the 50s and 60s. So this is something that she knew very well, this competition between like psychoanalysis and hypnosis.
I don't know what I believe, but I'm very curious about it all.
I have been to a hypnotist, and I did not believe in them, and I thought it was really dumb, and I couldn't believe that I was giving the guy $90, and I never smoked again. So there you go.
I should do that.
I was about to say something that I guess could be considered a spoiler in the movie, so I'm going to hold back on that now. I did want to bring up a question that I've gotten in the habit of asking quite a bit lately. I was talking to a director recently who made a point to emphasize how happy it made him to see his cast and crew have so much joy and take so much pride in their work on set. So I want to know, for both of you, what is the single moment of making a private life that brought you the most joy as an artist?
So many moments. Probably... There's one thing that happened. The chemistry between Daniel Auteuil and Jodie Foster was something that to witness as a director is pretty rare and pretty, you know, as like, I mean, I just want to stop saying that I'm obsessed with Jodie, but the fact that just the very first day shooting her, I was like, can I pinch me? I mean, like, this is like, is this for real? Is this like normal? And then when Daniel came and I had to say that, do you remember? I said, okay, guys, I must say, I'm slightly impressed. Just give me like a few moments. And then I went to like, you know, and even my crew, because I'm very like, you see how I am. I'm tough. I'm like, I'm not a little like thing, but my crew was like, something's happening with Rebecca. And I could tell that this kind of chemistry you cannot find often. So I'm pretty happy to have like, you know, brought together this legendary couple.
Ah, that's nice.
Great answer.
It's nice.
Well, it's something to think about, because that day where we were talking about the day in the elevator, you know, in America, when we make big movies, we actually create an elevator. I don't think I've ever made a movie where we didn't create the elevator, and instead we found, I don't know, is it the smallest elevator ever? An incredibly small elevator, and it's just really me and Danielle, and then there's, you know, one camera whose lens barely fits into the...
and the guy just like moving the elevator.
Yeah, and the guy
like,
moving the elevator.
Jodie came and was like, this is a real one. I was like, yeah. I mean, like, it's a real one.
And there's something beautiful about that, about how intimate that is, and how that really is what cinema is just two people in a tiny space that we witness, and we hope that we have the camera in the right place when it happens.
That's making me think of something else I had jotted down that you said in our press notes that I wanted to ask about. You were talking about your eagerness to make a French movie, and you specifically said, with a French director, shot entirely shot entirely in French and not something that felt like an imitation of an American movie. But then you say, or worse, a U.S. co-production.
Yeah.
Why is a U.S. co-production worse? And what can the industry do to make the U.S. co-production experience better?
Maybe just let me put in bloated co-production, which is what I really meant, I think, is that sometimes there's this impetus of saying, hey, we've got so-and-so and we've got so-and-so, and then France is pretty. Let's make a movie about it and spend too much money. And movies are more than a location, and France is more than a location where there are monuments. You know, France has a character, it has history, it's more than that. And sometimes I think these kind of big bloated, you know, because I care about France, sometimes these big bloated movies kind of come in and they've decided that the whole, you know, if they go to the Louvre or if they go to the Tour Eiffel, they're like, France. No. It's more than that.
Can you maybe give me an example of something we can see in this movie where
No, because that would be Schadenfreude. I can't give you an example.
I don't want Daniel to be Schadenfreude for any disease or like not to be with us. You see what I mean?
I mean more so like an example of something in this movie where it's something that just kind of like speaks to the beauty of independent filmmaking rather than throwing money at something. Yes. Something that you can only get because everyone's intentions are pure and they're willing to be like creative and think things through rather than kind of use money as a band-aid.
I mean, this is like basically the entire like making process of the film because I mean, I love my producer. He's an amazing producer that brought me like much, I mean, like this is the biggest budget I had in my life, but still it's pretty like reasonable. And that I love the fact that you have to find ideas. I mean, like when you have limits and when you have boundaries, it's boundaries.
Yes, boundaries.
Yeah, it makes you feel like more inventive. And I love that. I love the fact that I don't want to throw. But you know what? Like you can give me money as well. I mean, like I would use it. I would be more than happy, like to have like a big budget as well. But sometimes you feel that you're freer when you have that. So I'm not sure I answered your question, but it's just like the entire process of my film.
I mean, I can think of moments where we were working around probably the most beautiful monuments in the world, and nobody was really paying attention to them, and we did not have police. And I was driving the car, and there was a lot of me going around the block a bunch of times and hoping that the police wouldn't notice, pulling up into, over one of these extraordinary bridges and into, Auteuil. And I can remember that. Being a little nervous about like, wait, there's a bus and there's a bunch of cars. And the good news is I can drive, but come on.
She's a very good driver. Can I say one thing? Because I never mentioned to you. We had like this scene and you were supposed like, there's the huge like stop. Daniel Auteuil says like, because like you're supposed to be like drunk.
And the camera's in the back.
Camera was on the back. I was like in the truck, like in the, behind. And then like, and we did not like stop the streets. We did not,
I didn't.
And you were like, okay, let's go. And then this is like, stick one. She was like, let's go super fast. And I was like,
supposed to go fast and come to a stop with like,
it was very good. And I was praying like not anyone with a dog, just like very late would just like bump into the street. And I was like, maybe she doesn't know. She feels that like, the American way, we would have like, stopped like the entire like neighborhood.
I totally thought that really? That's the first I've ever heard of that.
So this is the moment where I just like...
Okay. I do always hesitate to ask questions like that because on the one hand, I want to see all the filmmakers I love have all the resources that they need, but it always really excites me that when you're working within certain boundaries, like that's what gets the creative juices flowing in a way that you can't achieve otherwise. And
I've made
it's a special thing.
A lot of big movies, and people sometimes ask me, what's the difference between the big movies and the little movies? And I think the biggest difference is that with big movies, you can defer decisions. And because you have all the money in the world to do it 10 ways, or to do something 5 ways and give yourself an option later on, which I think is a huge mistake. Because when you're not specific, you don't know what your movie's about. You don't know what it sounds like or feels like. And very often the directors that have left the decisions till the end get to the cutting room and realize they don't really understand their film.
Interesting.
That's a good point. Very well put
so
too.
You have like this, like, I don't know who said that cinema is not a window on things. It's like something that you hide. It's like you have to hide. It's André Bazin. He says, c'est pas une fenêtre, c'est un cache. So it's like what you depict on screen, when you have on screen, is pretty well like, decided because you decided like to hide that. And then it creates like a space of where's your camera?
Focusing on.
Exactly.
That's so true. I have to let you all go soon. I want to squeeze in one upcoming project question for you though, Jodie. The beast in me caught caught my eye because I know you've produced before. You were an EP on True Detective, but you were in that show. In this particular case, you are just involved as an executive producer. So I guess I was just kind of wondering, like, what inspired you to get involved in a project, but only in that capacity? Why did you want to support it in that way?
You know, if you know a lot about development and about TV especially, it goes through many, many years and different incarnations, and a lot of people come aboard and have their influence on it. And so I found an initial script and brought together Claire Danes, my good friend David Kissinger, who's the producer on that, and everybody. I helped them kind of come together, and then we all went off in different paths, and the filmmaking changed. And so I was like, I love you guys. This is going to be a great show. I'm off to do other things. So, and that has happened to me many times on my own films where we all hand off and work with each other. And so sometimes my collaboration is in the beginning, sometimes it's in the middle, and sometimes it's in the end. In this case, it was in the beginning.
Valuable collaboration process. Like, I love the idea of continuing to pass the baton, and now we're going to see it come through to fruition.
And so happy for Claire
soon.
Danes. You know, she was in my movie Home for the Holidays, and she was 14. I think she was not quite 15, and let me just say...
Was it like the moment of my so-called life?
Just
that
after
is
my
like,
so-called life. And
I'm such like a fan.
And I adored her, but she did not know how to drive. And we got her a driver's license. She had just gotten her learner's permit. And we put her in a scene where she had to pull into the airport with Holly Hunter. And yes, she did run over some things. And yes, she did. Sorry, Claire. She's a woman with a child now, so I can say these things. I couldn't have said it to her when she was 18, but she was a terrible driver.
Okay. Yeah. I feel honestly, many people out there can relate. All right. I have to let you go. I'm going to say huge congratulations on a private life. And thank you for swinging by and sharing some of your experience with us.
Thank you very much. Thank you.